Okay, Bismillah, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi everyone. Inshallah, we're going to begin a new series where we're starting with the Medina Arabic Reader 1. And this book teaches you how to understand the Arabic language for the purpose of understanding the Quran primarily, but also it's an Arabic language course. So inshallah, if you memorize the vocab and learn the grammar rules and put it into practice, inshallah, you're also going to be able to converse and to speak. So it's a holistic course, however, the focus is on the Arabic grammar. Now, in these sessions, I'm going to be spending between 40 to 50 minutes going through the text, and then any questions you have during that time, you can put them in the comments, and inshallah, I'll answer them afterwards. So as you can see, the Medina Arabic Reader 1, inshallah, you can download this as a PDF if you can't get hold of the actual book. But we're using the Medina Reader series, okay? And the Medina Reader series, it's the Medina book syllabus, which is the 3 books, book 1, book 2, book 3, which is taught at the Islamic University of Medina. But in this case, it's separated into 10 lessons each. So book Reader 1 is the first 10 lessons, and book 1, Reader 2 is the second 10 lessons. So the author of the book is Dr. Fa Abdurrahim, and as is the case with many of the scholars of the Arabic language, he's not Arab. So this is a motivation for every single one of us to realize that it's not necessary that you're born speaking Arabic for you to be able to become a master or to master the Arabic language. Many of the great scholars of the past, they were not Arabs. So inshallah, let's begin with this new course on Medina Arabic 1, which is exclusive for the portal members, Medina College portal members, MCL portal members. Okay, the first lesson, how we're going to break down these lessons, inshallah, we're going to first begin by looking at the grammar of the lesson, the vocab, and then we're going to go into the lesson. So the first thing we're going to do is just to have a quick read of the grammar, which is going to tell us what this lesson is about. Okay, the main points of this lesson. So he mentions here, in this lesson, we learn the following patterns. These patterns are basically simple sentences where you ask questions like, what is this? For an object, ma hadha, right? What is this? And you reply by saying hadha kitabun, right? Hadha kitabun. This is a book, right? So that's called a open question, and you use ma for the question and particle, and then you have closed questions like hadha baytun, which has a yes, no answer. So you say hadha baytun, is this a house? You can say na'am hadha baytun, yes, this is a house. Or you can say la hadha masjidun. And the last one is man hadha for people, right? So you have ma hadha for objects and things, and you have man hadha for people. So this is, he starts off by giving you some vocab and phrases, no grammar points, right? Then he gives you a couple of notes. He says hadha is pronounced ha-dha, but it is written without the first alif. And then he also says Arabic has no word corresponding to the English is. Arabic has no copula. What he's saying here, if you look at all of these sentences, hadha kitabun, you have 2 nouns without a verb. In English, that doesn't happen. In English, every single sentence has to have a verb in it, even if it's the is verb. This is a pen, right? But here it says hadha kitabun, this book, right? Hadha baytun, this house. So here you have 2 nouns, and it makes a complete sentence in Arabic. In English, you'd have to add this is a house. Number 3, there's no word in Arabic corresponding to a, as in this is a book. So where do you get this? How do you make this structure where the sound is, where you have this word a to show indefiniteness, i.e. common, not a specific book, but any book. You do that by adding the end sound at the end. So you have kitabun, masjidun, baytun, right? That sound at the end is the indefinite article, as he mentions here. The sound at the end is the indefinite article. Indefinite article, it means a or an, as opposed to the. The word the is called the definite article, and it specifies and it makes something specific. Okay. The last thing, point number 4, the author mentions the particle, the hamza there, placed at the beginning of a statement, turns it into a question. So you have a question, we have a statement, هذا بيت. You want to turn it into a question, you just add this particle at the beginning, and it turns it into, is this a house? Okay, what does the word particle mean? Because it's an important grammar point. In Arabic, you have words of three types. Okay, in Arabic, words are either one of three types. The word is either I'm going to write this in English for now, an ism, which means a noun, or it's a fi'l, which means verb, or it's a harf, which means particle. So that's when he says it's a particle, meaning it's not a noun. It's not a noun that points to a person or a place or a thing or an object. It's not a verb, which shows you an action with time, but it's a harf, which is a particle. Okay, so this word, he goes, is the particle is placed at the beginning of the word. So that's a little bit of the grammar, where you have noon ending for tanween and you have a particle. Let's look at the vocab for today's lesson. I'm going to read the words just to get the pronunciation of them, and you're going to be able to listen and repeat after me. I'm going to read them slowly, and I'm going to read them with a pause in between so the students can repeat them afterwards for pronunciation. So number 1, starting on the right, you have the word boy in Arabic, which is walad. They have the word student, talib, man, rajul, merchant, tajir, dog, kelb, cat, qit, donkey, himarun, hisan, horse, jamal, camel, deek, rooster. Then you have mudarris, teacher, and you have mindil, which is handkerchief. On the left, the words you have, or on, I guess it's on your right, on the left, it says bait. This column here, we're doing now. You have bait, house, masjid, mosque, bab, door, kitab, book, qalam, miftah, maktab, sarir, kursi, najmun, qamis, tabib. It's important to read the vocab before the lesson, so you've already got an indication of the words. And another tip when it comes to studying in the Madinah book is what you should do is practice covering one side and then saying the word. So, for example, what I would do is I would, for example, cross out all these words here, and then I test myself. Kitab, what is that? Okay, a book. And you do that so that you learn the vocab, you memorize the vocab, because you need vocab to be able to do the lessons and to speak. So that's the vocab today. The other thing you can see, when you look at this vocab, you can categorize it. Okay, you can categorize it into personal objects or objects like bab or like kitab, book, qalam, pen, miftah. So you're a person, you always have a miftah with you because you need it for your house or your car. You always have a qalam with you if you're a student to write. You always have a kitab with you, or in today's time maybe an iPad. All right, maktab, desk. Then you have furniture, sarirun, kursiyun. Right. Then you have professions, mudarris and tabib, tajir, talib. Right, jobs. So you can, another way to help you memorize and to retain the vocab is to also look at it and categorize it in the categories where they're related. related words. So that's the grammar for lesson 1 vocab. Let's jump into the actual lesson where he's going to be speaking. So he starts off by saying ad-darsul awwalu. He starts off by saying ad-darsu al-awwalu, the first lesson, right? So lesson 1. And he gives you what the lesson 1 is about, saying hadha. So lesson 1 is hadha. Okay. This word we already said what it means is this is, or this. The other important thing is, I'll mention it now, but we're going to come across it in a later lesson, is that in Arabic words are either masculine or feminine. Okay, and at the moment, all of the vocab that we're looking at is going to be our masculine words. So he starts off by giving you masculine words. And again, it's just learning to point to and say things. So this is just learning vocab, right, to begin. So you have a bunch of pictures and you have the words underneath. Let's look at the first one, right? Someone said, ma hadha, like what's this? Hadha baytun, this is a house. Hadha bayt. Okay, you can stop at the last letter without pronouncing the ending, without pronouncing this dhammatain, but we want to pronounce it because that's teaching us the grammar. When we speak about Arabic grammar, what we're speaking about is the endings of words and how they change because of their position in the sentence. So even though when you're speaking you wouldn't pronounce the word hadha baytun. There was another word that we read at the back. Quick question for you. The house, you can see there's a door, there's a tree, there's a window. What was the word for door? The word for door, we've already studied it. It's also in this lesson. It was one of the words which was in the vocab. Here's a door, and that's the word for that is bab. Right? Bab. Okay, next one. Hadha masjid. Hadha masjid. This is a masjid. So you're pointing to it, right? So you've got a big arrow pointing. Imagine yourself, you work as a guide. You're in a Muslim country. You've got tourists, and you're pointing hadha masjid. This is a house. Here's the word bab. Hadha bab. This is a door. Hadha miftah. This is the key. Hadha qalam. Hadha kitab. Hadha maktab. Hadha sarirun. This is a bed. Hadha kursiyun. Okay, so here's 9 sentences pointing to things. If we go to the next page, page 2, it's now asking questions. Ma hadha, what is this? Hadha bayt, this is a house. Hadha bayt? Na'am, hadha bayt. Is this a house? Yes, this is a house. So you have open questions, which are the WH questions. Ma hadha or man hadha, right? What is this or who is this, if you're speaking about people. And you have closed questions where you take the sentence, hadha baytun, and you add at the beginning of it a hamza al-istifham, hamzatu al-istifham. This is called a questioning hamza because you have a number of different types of hamza. So this word here is called hamzatul istifham. Right? Istifham, in there's the word fahm, i.e. seeking understanding. That's what it's called. There's another word you can use instead of a, which is hal. You can say hal hadha bayt, is this a house? Or you can say a hadha bayt, and this is called hamzatul istifham, and it's a particle, as we've already discussed. On the next question, it asks ma hadha, what is this? Hadha qamis. Hadha qamis. This is a shirt. A closed question. Ahadha sarirun. Does that look like a bed? No. So is this a bed? La hadha kursiyun. No. This is a kursi. Ahadha miftahun. Is this a pen? La hadha qalamun. Or ahadha miftahun. Is this a key? La hadha qalamun. No. This is a pen. And then ma hada najmun. This is a star. So the first page is just pointing and saying what things are. The second page is asking questions for objects, not for people. Now, if you go to the third page, it gives you a tamreen. It gives you a tamreen, and a tamreen is, as you can see, it's translated next to it, exercise. Right? Tamreen also means exercise, like I'm running, I'm doing tamreen. Also, a tamreen, an exercise, which is a task that you're going to complete in the book. So this you're going to do, practice writing. Ma hada, you look at that picture, and because it's ma, it's saying what is this, it's not saying man hada, right? Ma hada, you know, it's not asking about the person. It's not asking about him, who looks like he's a teacher or a mudir, he's a chairman or a boss or something, right? It's not asking about him, it's asking about the anything else which is an object, right? So if you looked at that ma hada, the desk or the pen or the book, right? You'd answer by saying, and I'll do the first one, hada, and then if we said book, this is a book, kitabun, hada kitabun, this is a book, all right? If you want to say this is a desk, you say hada maktabun. Ma hada. We'll do this one as well, just so you can see the formation of the letters, how they're joined up and stuff. What is this? Looking at that, okay, this is a bed. So you take that word, that's the first. Hada, this is, and the ma is what you're asking about. That becomes the answer. Sarirun. This is a bed. The rest of them, ma hada, you're going to write the answers in your books, inshallah, so that you can practice handwriting and check the vocab. Again, when you're doing an exercise like this, try to recall the verb or recall the word, and when you're writing it, try to write it from looking, covering, and then writing, as opposed to just copying the shape. Okay, you don't want to just copy the shape, right? You want to say the word, hear the word, and write the word from listening to it, as in self-dictation, as opposed to just copying the shape. So that's really important for picking up listening and writing skills. Okay, the next lesson is looking at another type of question, not saying ma hada, but saying closed questions, ahada, right? Is this a? Ahada baytun, you can write a short answer, which is either yes or no. You look at the picture. Is this a house? No. You say no. Yes. Ahada qamisun, is this a shirt? Ahada miftahun, is this a key? Ahada najmun, right? And so on and so forth. You're going to answer na'am or la. And if you want more writing practice, you'd write the whole answer, the complete answer, not just yes or no. So that's the kind of the lesson. Then it comes to then there's some tasks, and this task comes throughout the book. Iqra waktub. Iqra, as you know, everyone that's a Muslim watching this, and they would have known the meaning of Iqra, because you know that the first verse that was revealed began with Iqra, to read. Okay, and waktub. Uktub is to write. These are both verbs, and as you can see in uktub, you have the word kataba, right? So when you say, for example, maktab, you can still see kataba in there, right? Because it's a place where you write on. Or if you have the word kitab, which is a book, something which is written, you can still see kataba there. This is called the root letters. And one thing that helps you in learning Arabic quickly is when you're able to recognize, you read the word and you recognize the 3-letter root of the word. And that way you'll be able to understand this is all connected to the concept of writing, all right? So anytime you see maktab, okay, this has to do something with writing. Or maktaba, library, where books are kept, all right? Something to do with writing. All right, kitab, as you know, is a book. So this is called root letters, and it's a very important skill to pick up early on. So what it wants you to do here is to read these and write them. We're going to add another instruction here, is to translate, okay, into English, because what we want to do at one point is to be able to, for example, you're going to translate the first one. This is a desk, right? So you say this is a desk. You wrote it, you read it, هذا مكتب. You wrote it, هذا مكتب, you know, from listening, and then you translate it, this is a desk. The fourth thing you should do is to now cover this word, هذا مكتب. You're going to cover this word. Now you've got the English, this is a desk. You should be able to test yourself to see if you can translate it from English back to Arabic. Okay, and this is something you start early on, so you can, inshallah, pick up your active use of the Arabic language, right? You don't want to just be passive, you want to be active. So you have a passive side of your brain, you have an active side of your brain. You want to use both, all right? So there's two-way translations. You've got the English you translate into Arabic, and also you've got the Arabic and you translate it into English. هذا مكتب, this is a desk. Okay, so those are both of the things you want to be able to do. So we'll read them together, or I'll read them out, and then you're going to write them yourself in your books. هذا مكتب, the first one. هذا مسجد, second one. هذا قلم, third one. هذا سرير. ما هذا. هذا كرسي. هذا بيت. لا, هذا مسجد. ما هذا. هذا مفتاح. Then there's questions with man, who, right? Who is this? And now it's asking about their job or their possession, profession, or their relationship to you or to somebody else. Man هذا, you look at the first picture, this picture here, you can see this guy is evidently a طبيب. هذا طبيب, okay? And you don't need to know what the word طبيب is, because the picture says it all, meaning it will tell you what it is in the language that you're learning. Okay, this one, man هذا, who is this? هذا ولد. This is a boy. You've got some more below. Man هذا, if you can work it out, backpack, looking smart. هذا طالب, this is a student. Then a closed question. هذا ولد, is this a boy? Is this a boy? No, obviously not. هذا رجل, this is a man. This is a man. And then again, more questions and answers. You look at the picture. Man هذا, who is this? هذا تاجر, this is a merchant, right? The word تاجر is like a merchant, a businessman, someone that buys and sells. ما هذا, what is this? هذا مسجد. هذا كلب, this is a dog. هذا كلب. لا, هذا قط. No, this is a cat. هذا حمار, this is a donkey. Remember, all of these words are masculine. So you have nouns which are masculine and nouns which are feminine, and you have adjectives which explain those nouns that can be either masculine or feminine, and this is how the book builds up. Next picture. هذا حمار. Can you translate that? Looking at the picture. لا, هذا حصان. No, this is a, what is it? What does that picture show you? You should be able to work it out from the picture. If not, go back to the vocab. ما هذا. هذا جمل. هذا جمل. ما هذا. هذا ديك. And the last one, من هذا. هذا مدرس. So if you look, the people are men, and even animals, even though they're living, because they're not humans, that you use the word ma to ask about them. Then there's another tamreen, so this will be the third tamreen in the book. And again, it's a iqra waktub exercise. And as we said, this for us is going to be a iqra waktub, and also to translate. Okay, ma hadha qalam. Ma hadha qalam. Right, what's this? What is this? This is a pen. Hadha kalbun. This is a dog. Right, so read and translate. Again, when you're writing, you want to be self-dictating, meaning that you're going to say the word, you're going to look at it, say it, you're going to look up, say it, then you're going to look at your notebook without looking at that book and say it again. That's third times you've said it. Now you're consolidating your memory and you're going to write it down. And as you're writing it down, inshallah, you should be saying it as well and repeating it over. And then you look back at the book again to see, just to check, and then you continue. Another tip that I'm going to give you is when you're writing, keep your pen on the paper as long as possible and don't worry about the dots or the vowel markings until afterwards. So for example, if I want to write the word tabib, okay, I'm going to write the word tabib. Okay, as you can see, I'm going to start there, go there, go there. I'll do the shape. And then I come back, because now I have to lift my pen up because I finished, and do the lines and the dots. And then afterwards, if it's a grammar class and I need to show the teacher, for example, what the ending is, I'll add the end. Don't necessarily have to. Another example, if we take the word deek, obviously the dal, you don't join up any word which is after, and you don't join it to letters afterwards. So that's going to always be like that. And then you do that, and then now you go back and do your dots and the vowels that have to be done. So that's just a tip again when it comes to writing practice. And we come to the end of the lesson. We're going to recap where we began. In this lesson, we learn the following patterns. The first, right? You're demonstrating. I'm pointing to that. Hadha kitabun. This is a book. I'm demonstrating. I'm pointing to it. Okay, so that's called a demonstrative pronoun. This word hadha is called a demonstrative pronoun, this word, and it's masculine. So it's a demonstrative pronoun. Right, it's a demonstrative pronoun, and in this case it's masculine. As we go through the book, the author is going to give the feminine and is also going to give you the Arabic terminology for that. We'll do that when we come across it. The other thing is it's also singular. Okay, it points to one thing, not two or not three or more. Okay, it's singular. So it's a demonstrative pronoun that's masculine, that's singular. Okay, even the word, that's why the word kitab is also masculine and singular. It's not feminine. Okay, so that's some of the grammar. Then there's the closed questions where you start off with a particle, ahadha baytun, na'am hadha baytun, or la hadha masjidun, and then man hadha. Those are the phrases with the vocab questions, answers, and all the vocab that you've already learned. We'll go to lesson 2. Because each lesson, as I mentioned, is going to be about 40 minutes. And lesson 2 only adds 4 new vocab words, and is, instead of saying this, pointing to something close, it's starting to ask something like that. So what is that? For example, when I point, if I'm going to turn around and point over there, I'll say ma dhalika. I'll say what is that? Okay. Or if I'm pointing over there, I'll say ma dhalika. It's out of the shot at the moment. So I'll say what is that? Meaning you're either demonstrating something which is close to you, next to you, or you're demonstrating something which is far away from you. Okay, so this is dhalika, and it demonstrates something which is far. As in the first lesson, let's first of all look at the grammar and the vocab. It says in this lesson we learn the use of dhalika, meaning that, and wa, meaning and. Okay, so there's 2 words, 2 grammar points, dhalika and wa for and. Example, هذا بيت وذلك مسجد. This is a house and that is a masjid, okay, a mosque. Again, he gives you some notes. Note 1, ذلك is pronounced ذلك with the alif, but it's when you in writing you don't write the alif. So you pronounce the alif sound, ذلك, but as you can see when you write it, there's not alif. You don't, but when you say, you don't say ذلك, you say ذلك. Also, the word wa and is written close to the following word, meaning it looks like it's part of this word as opposed to the word that it comes afterwards. It's close to the following word, وَذَلِكَ. Okay, and then the vocab for this lesson, apart from ذَلِكَ and wa, so there's 6 new words, is going to be سُكْرٌ or سُكَّرٌ, لَبَنٌ, إِمَامٌ, حَجَرٌ. Right, stone, milk, sugar, and imam. Again, these words can be categorized. If you're keeping a notebook with your vocab, you can categorize them, or you can look for a PDF where the vocab is already in one separate book if you wanted to do that. I'm sure that's available online. So we've done this lesson, we'll read through it. It's only 2 or 3 pages with only one exercise. Again, it's going to consolidate the vocab that you've already done and add 4 more words, and that's the point. The point is there's repetition, so you always go backwards, but also bear in mind that you're going to be repeating some of the words, so as you go forward you're going to be consolidating, and the key is to have consistency. So we have the word ذَلِكَ. It says مَا ذَلِكَ, right, and he's pointing, look, it's far away obviously, right, so it's not close. The star, ذَلِكَ نَجْمٌ, that is a star, right, that is a star. You got 2 pictures. You've got the masjid, which is close, and you've got the bait, which is far, that's further away. So how would you point to both? You'd say هذا مسجد وذلك بيت, هذا مسجد وذلك بيت. Here you've got 2 things, you know, one's a horse, one's a donkey, one's close, one's far. هذا حصان وذلك حمار, هذا حصان وذلك حمار. Right, and one thing you can notice as well, look, the vowels on both of these, again, this is just saying it begins with kasra as a first vowel, then a fatha, and then you got an alif, a long vowel, kasra, fatha, and a long vowel, himar. So they're similar patterns, okay? And that's the other thing that makes the Arabic language easy to memorize. Is it's number 1, you have root letters, and number 2, you have patterns, and we'll speak a bit more about this in future lessons, inshallah. Here you go, 2 boys pointing at a, well, is it a cat, is it a dog? We don't know. The drawing looks like it could be one of both, under a tree. All right, so he says to his mate, أذلك كلب, is that a dog? He says, لا ذلك قط, no, that's a cat. And the last one, again, a girl and a boy, they're in the room. ما ذلك, she's asking him. He says ذلك سرير, that is a bed. Okay, so you can see the images show that they're pointing to something which is far away. Again, 2 pictures. من هذا ومن ذلك, someone that's close, this one's closer, and he's all the way over there. Right, say من ذلك or من هذا ومن ذلك, هذا مدرس وذلك إمام, this is a teacher and that is a imam. ما ذلك, ذلك حجر, what's that? That's a stone. هذا سكر وذلك لبن, this is sugar and that is لبن. What is لبن? It's funny, quick anecdote. Leben is, I always thought milk was just milk, but no, you have milk which is halib, you have leben which is a salty type of milk, like a yogurt milk, a yogurt drink, right? So you have leben which is specific, it's not halib, and you have halib. We'll write that here now, because if you want, for example, you're going to go out, you're going to have tea and coffee, you're going to say with milk or without milk. right? بالحليب أي شاي بالحليب. قهوة بالحليب. قهوة بدون حليب, right? Without milk. And the word for milk is حليب, right? حليب. Okay, and it's not leban. So don't ask for qahwa bil leban because it won't taste nice. Don't ask for coffee with leban. Tamreen, again, an exercise for you to do. You're going to do so. Tamreen, we said, is exercise. Iqra waktub, read and write. Copy the sentence out. Don't copy the sentence. Say the sentence, looking at it. Say it again, not looking at it. Write down the sentence and then translate it. And then test yourself. Cover over the Arabic. Try to re-say it again. Cover over the English. And another tip, have a separate notebook where you're going to be doing all your exercises and writing all your grammar notes. And just have one simple notebook, nothing fancy, just a notebook that's going to be your reference point. And also try to write neatly and thirdly, slowly. You know, start slowly until you get good at it and then you can speed up. That's the most important thing. So read and write here. Al-kalimatu al-jadida. New vocab. Al-kalimat is plural, so we have words. Okay, so this is a plural word. The funny thing is the author starts teaching plural way down in lesson number, maybe 11 or 12, right? But he's still giving you a plural word. Yeah, words. Al-kalimat. So also look at the instructions because they also give you the vocab. Al-jadida. This is new. Okay. So al-kalimat is the plural word for kalima. The singular of that is kalima. Another important tip is, inshallah, when you're reciting and memorizing Quran, try to not just memorize but listen out for the words that you've come across in your Arabic lesson. So you can say, hold on a minute, that word's. So read slowly, for example. Right, and you can recognize the grammar points. So okay, this has a tanween ending, which means it's indefinite. This word, for example, says kalima, which means it means word. Kitab, book, for example. Right, you're going to come across these words in the Quran. So the more you're memorizing and reciting Quran, the more you're improving your Arabic language. So that's it for today's lesson. Again, we're going to recap on the grammar. Since that's where we began, we're going to end where we began, so it all makes sense. In this lesson, we learned the use of dhalika, meaning that, and wa, meaning and. This is a house and that is a mosque. Hada baytun wa dhalika masjidun. Another tip, you can take the examples which are used in these points to remember and just memorize that. Okay, so the vocab you're reading, you're writing, you're doing exercises. This is what you memorize. And this is what you test yourself. So lesson 1, you're going to say, هذا بيت وذلك مسجد. What did it teach me? The word ذلك, the word واو. Lesson 1, for example, you're going to have those questions. ما هذا بيت. هذا بيت. نعم هذا بيت. لا هذا مسجد. من هذا. Memorize those 6 phrases. And you're going to be able to, from that, say to yourself, this lesson teaches me the use of these phrases, asking questions to objects, asking questions about people, pointing, using a word which points to demonstrative pronoun for something which is masculine, singular, close, and so on and so forth. You start testing yourself, inshallah, in that way. And that's the end of today's lesson. Inshallah, on Wednesday, we're going to do, inshallah, lesson 3. If you can, recap and or do the exercises by Wednesday. And lastly, make sure you come prepared by reading ahead and being familiar with the grammar that's coming, so that when you're in the lesson, you're going to be able to engage fully. So with that, we're going to stop the lesson, inshallah. And if there's any questions, then you can post it on the Fatwa Bank, any Arabic language questions, inshallah. And then during the week, I'll do my best to answer them myself, or one of the admins will do that, inshallah. So that's the end of today's lesson, inshallah. I hope you've enjoyed it. Madinah, Book 1, Teaching Arabic Grammar. Assalamu alaikum.